Hey everybody, it's Ron again over at Becoming Enlightened Together. We're going to go ahead and do a tarot reading for today. So I did a different spread today, what they call a horseshoe spread. So I'm trying all of them and see which ones feels best for me. So with this one, there's typically 8 cards. You have something that looks like a V. If I had an actual camera outside of my computer itself, then I would actually be able to show it to you. So, but I'm making do with what I have at this moment, and it looks like a V, if you will, with the the point where both sides come together at the bottom is basically the point of the reading, and then we go from past, present, immediate future, and then up to the environment, things of that nature, challenges and obstacles, and future potential or future outcome of the reading. And of course, we look at the bottom of the deck as a significator for the entire reading. So what we have as far as the point of the reading is a King of Cups, which is a Pisces card. And at the bottom, we have the Tower, which also is water in Scorpio, but it's also represented with fire in Aries. So basically we got somebody who's very balanced, intuitive, tolerant, empathetic, teacher in fact, who's going to be brought down to some type of ruin, disaster, perhaps being humbled in some way. Now, within that reading, or within that energy, the King of Cups to the Tower, we're going to discover basically what is going on with this King of Cups, what led up to, perhaps, or what has happened as a result of this downfall, this humbling that he experienced, or she, in a man or woman could be in masculine energy. So now let's go ahead and look at our past. We'll start with the past energy. And the past energy for this King of Cups is the Knight of Cups. Somebody who is creative and motivated, inspirational, somebody with drive, perhaps romantic, somebody who's flirtatious, somebody who's bringing in some good news, somebody might be over emotional, maybe very imaginative and forceful, somebody who's basically sensitive, temperamental, perhaps he runs, or she, hot and cold. So even though these are relatively masculine energies that we've seen so far, a king and a knight, again, now a woman can also be in masculine energy, okay? It's the overall energy that we're looking at here. And this is a Scorpio card, okay? Another water card. So, and I'm a Scorpio rising. So Scorpios are typically looked at as being, many other things, very intuitive. So this King of Cups is probably, because that's also one of the descriptors for the King of Cups, somebody who's very empathetic, and with the empathy, that's more of a feminine quality, which, cups typically are, in tarot, which is water. So the emotions, the feminine, the intuition, and things of that nature. Okay, we see that a lot. Now, in the present energy, what we have is the Ace of Swords. Now, aces are typically, beginnings of something, right before something new is going to happen, if you will. So that's what this talks about, new beginnings, clarity on something, perhaps focused and a vision of some type, good choices being made or will be made. Somebody who's looking for truth, a truth seeker, somebody who's successful, somebody who's basically intelligent, somebody who has a desire for the truth, discovering it, unraveling it. Maybe somebody who is being called to justice, as we saw with the Tower card at the bottom of the deck. Somebody who's basically being called to be honest. Maybe somebody's integrity right now is being challenged. So that's also part of this. It talks about tests and challenges. So, and having resolve. So hopefully the King of Cups will pass this particular test, as that's what it looks like is happening here. And if not, then of course the Tower that we saw at the bottom of the deck is inevitable. You will fall and ruin and all of these types of things. Your best bet always is to be honest, truthful, accept your responsibility. It's hard. It's extremely hard at times, especially when you've really screwed up. But what will happen if you try to avoid it, try to fight it, try to cover it up, it's going to be 10 times worse in the end, and you are still going to end up paying the price for that. There's no wisdom in that whatsoever. You're delaying the inevitable and you're making it far worse in the end. Just take your comeuppance and deal with it. Handle it like a man. Even if you're a woman, just deal with it. And I didn't mean to be or sound sexist in that comment. I mean, I have a lot of reverence for females. In fact, there are many great warriors who are female. Whether it's Norse, culture, or Joan of Arc, or the Celtic Boudica. I mean, there's just so many of them. It's hard to name them all. But the point is that if you've done wrong, whether you're a man or a woman, just accept it, deal with it, be humble instead of being made humble. And you will gain instead of lose what reputation you have at the end of this. Yes, it's going to be hard. People are going to have things to say. You may be looked at differently, at least at first. But in the end, people will see that you were brave enough to accept, responsibility for your actions. And that's so rare in today's world. And we all look to those who go beyond and accept, the greatest of consequences and stand firm in that, and do what is right anyways. We look up to those people, no matter who you are. So, do the right thing. Moral of the story. Now, in terms of our immediate future, we have a great card, and that is the World card. Now, the World card is an Earth card, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and basically talks about how the universe is working, in your best interest at this time. Talks about success, possible travel, talks about the completion of something, rewards, integration and wholeness. It talks about synthesis, accomplishment, prospering. Talks about your dreams coming true. Okay? Talks about flourishing, somebody who's using their gifts and talents, and somebody who's feeling fulfilled and satisfied. Okay? So that's the immediate future. Very, very good. Now, as far as, the environment, what we have, and that's, both in terms of where we are as well as the people, around us and so on. We're talking about the Five of Pentacles, being out in the cold, okay? Pentacles, of course, are Earth. In this particular case, it's a Taurus card. Now, this talks about financial, spiritual hardships. Talks about poverty even, troubles, hardships, hard times, possible ill health, somebody who's feeling rejected, somebody's impoverished and run down, somebody who may need to seek medical attention. It's a very negative energy, to be finding yourself within. And again, this would explain, that fact that perhaps this tower has already fallen, and or will very, very soon, and this is the likelihood of that. Now, what we have in our challenges and obstacles, what we have is the Seven of Pentacles. Now, this is also a Taurus card, an Earth card, and talks about how working towards one's goals will pay off in the end, okay? It talks about rewards and gain. It talks about somebody who has patience, somebody who's hardworking, somebody who's trying to manifest their goals, somebody who's assessing, the situation right now, somebody who is reflecting upon their current status, somebody who is reviewing things and who is actually perhaps starting to see some results. So this looks like somebody who may have already fallen and is working to build themselves back up. And we see that echoed with the Six of Pentacles, another Earth card. This one talks about more balance, universal balance to be specific, working in your favor, good karma, rewards, talks about gifts, receiving, talks about financial opportunities arising. It talks about knowledge perhaps being gained, power. It talks about giving. It talks about supporting and being supported. So what it looks like is that this King of Cups has basically, for reasons that are not made completely clear here, has been humbled, has been brought down due to some type of, I can't say it was a wrongdoing. It could be somebody who was actually set up. I can't really discern that from the energy that is being presented here. It could be either way. So, however it fits. But it does look like they are actually fighting their way back up and through this ordeal. And all I can say is I have the utmost respect for people who just keep getting back up, keep doing it. I know how hard it is, and I've had to do it so many times in my life. So, and it's never easy. It's never easy. And that's why you have my absolute, respect, because I know how difficult it is, and you often do it all by yourself. Some people may not have any idea at all what you're going through. And it can be very, very lonely as you're working yourself out of this turmoil. Now, if it's something that you brought upon yourself, again, accept what it is that you've done, accept this lesson and learn from this so that you don't repeat it again, because you are now expected to be a teacher as well. Somebody who is teaching others, how to get through these times of lessons. Being that you've experienced it yourself, you have far more to add than somebody who learned about these things in a book. Okay? And that's why God does allow us, the universe, our ancestors, however, whatever it is you believe, that makes the world, work and so on, operate in this matrix. That's why we're allowed to go through these things. Yeah, it's not fun. These lessons can be exceptionally difficult, and you always ask the question as to why, especially if it wasn't because of something that maybe you have done, per se. Sometimes there's still lessons that we have to learn, something carried over from previous lives, perhaps. It's hard to say, and it's going to differ for each and every one of us. But nonetheless, it looks like this person, this King of Cups, is actually learning their lesson, and they're coming out of it slowly, but they're getting there. So, again, nothing but respect from me personally. And as always, I invite you, if you have ever need of it, I have a compassionate heart and ear. So if you need to talk to somebody, you can reach me by sending an email or whatever the case may be right there to the website right here, and perhaps we can exchange something a little bit more personal, so that you can share with me, and it doesn't have to be something that's seen by everybody else out there. Well, we see a lot of earth and we see a lot of water. Okay, so basically, we're looking at a lot of feminine attributes, characteristics, and traits. Our feminine energy within this reading and so on. And again, that doesn't mean if it's a guy that we're talking to out there that you're acting like a chick. No, it just means that, the traits, characteristics, and attributes that are associated with the feminine versus the masculine is where basically the majority of the energy seems to be emanating from. Okay, so somebody's a lot more in their feminine energy than their masculine energy right now. Okay. All right. So for whatever that's worth, and I hope that this helps somebody out there. Okay. It's obvious whenever you do these things that it was meant for somebody, even if it's only one person out of the 8 billion that are out there. Okay. So with that being said, and as always, stay victorious, and I will see you again very, very soon. Take care. God bless. Okay. Bye-bye.